Excellent. Good afternoon, everybody. I don't know what we're all doing inside on a sunny day when we finally have one here in Connecticut. Welcome. Today, we're going to talk about leveraging the media tools you own. Um, I think, it's really important, especially since it sounds like many of you own your business, that you're probably small business owners. So this is a really important topic for you because these are things that you can do within your own business that aren't going to cost you a lot of money. They don't require big marketing budgets or anything like that. So let's get into it. First, a little bit about me. I've been working in and around marketing and PR and communications for over 20 years. I have an MBA, and I also spent a lot of time at Mohegan Sun, which I'm sure many of you in Southeastern Connecticut are familiar with, working within their marketing environment. I also have Allie Bryant, my coworker, here with me today, and she is going to be helping moderate and keep me afloat here. Um, let's take it away. Or Allie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi everyone. I'm Allie Bryant. I've worked with Miranda Creative for the last 3 years. I've also done a couple of score presentations, so welcome back if I'm a familiar face. And I am part of the digital marketing team here at Miranda Creative. So any Google, social, um, TikTok ads, all of those things. That's kind of my wheelhouse. So if you have any digital focused questions, I might be able to answer them. But really, this is about your own media. So it's great. Looking forward to it, Melissa.
Great. Thank you, Ali. I should have actually mentioned that as well. I am a brand account manager at Miranda Creative, and I work in that space working with clients, a wide variety of clients on their marketing needs. And that ranges from, digital to more traditional marketing campaigns and media. So let's get into it now. Today's agenda, we're going to kind of define what owned media is because I think there might be some misconceptions about what owned media is and what we think it is. We're going to run through some examples of owned media and how you might utilize those pieces. We're going to talk about why it matters to you and your business. We're going to identify some how to identify your own media and opportunities, how you can look at your own business and look at what you're using and how you can leverage your own media. And then we'll also talk about maximizing that own media. And then we'll kind of have a conclusion, we'll break it down, and we'll have any questions. All right, let's go. So let's talk about what owned media is first and foremost. So it's channels you create and control. So they're platforms that your business has absolute control over, and you can post or add or anything you want. You can do it within that space, and you can do it whenever you want to. Um, they are used to promote your business and connect with your customers and build your customer base as well as your brand. So they're pieces of communication tools or digital resources or any of those items that you have full control over, and they're your voice that you can put forth your brand. Um, and there are pieces that can be utilized by any brand, anything. For all, small businesses, 100%. So your plumber, your baker, your bank, your agencies, small stores, small boutiques, cafes. They're really available to anybody and accessible to anybody. And they're really a way for you to nurture your relationships with your customer, really speak to them, get to know them, know what they want to know about. It really allows you to speak to them and know what they'd be interested in hearing about. Um, so now that we've kind of defined that, I want to kind of walk you through some companies or businesses, and they're big business, but think about the way that they use their own media. So a couple places I visit frequent pretty often, and many of you probably do as well. Target, Starbucks, and then just Mohegan Sun because it's sort of close to my heart here. I spent a lot of time there, but they're all businesses that really use their own media in creative ways. And when you enter those spaces, if you think about the signage, what the employees are wearing, the apps that you use on your phone to maybe find and target, you can look up and find, oh, I'm looking for, you know, um, uh, ibuprofen. Where can I find it? Do you know what I mean? And you can look it up on the app and it'll tell you what aisle it's in your store. So for Target, they have their app, which is they deliver messages to you. You get your rewards, you can find sales, you can find offers, everything in there in store. They also have their website and their digital ad space, which is also lends you to their promotions, um, helps you in finding the sales you're looking for. They also do personalized emails. So, how many of us have gotten the emails like, hey, we saw you checking out, come back and see it again, sort of thing. They also do that where they're retargeting in emails. And then there's in-store signage. They have that signage everywhere, that are highlighting key offerings. If they have a campaign going on, sales, pushing summer, it's all there for you to see. Starbucks, another one. They have their heavy app, right, where we can earn our offers and rewards, and also new drink menus, and it'll all be there front and center. Like when they launch their summer drink menu, we can see it, it's there. Mobile ordering, another feature that also captures information. Targeted emails drive sales. They drive sales with that, their birthday rewards, new drink promotions, all of that, and they're pulling all that information together and then targeting messaging back to you. And at Mohegan Sun does similar things. They have their My Mohegan Sun app and they have their loyalty program, again, working similar to Target and Starbucks, giving you offers that are for you and targeted at you. They have lots of on property digital signage coming soon, events, concerts, all of it's there for you to be taking in that space. They have their direct mail and email, again, much like Target and Starbucks, where they are directing messages to you. They see what you're interested in, they see your habits when you visit, and they're directing that content back to you. And then again, they use their website, which acts as a central hub for everything so that you can find anything you're looking for in that space. Um, all right, so are we ready to get into the rest of it after we kind of are now thinking about what this might look like and when we visit these places, what owned media is? So if we're ready, we'll go into the next piece. So we're going to start by talking about examples of owned media and how those might be leveraged. So one is a text list. So I don't know how many of you might have phone numbers for customers and be able to send out SMS messaging to them. So, an example of this is a local pizza place. Perhaps they have a text list and it's a Friday night and they say, hey, you know what? We want to we need to boost sales. Maybe things have been a little slow, something like that. They say, hey, we're going to give a $5 off offer. And they can text that out and to their list and see what happens from there. And then email newsletters. This is another example of like list-based media that you can use. So a boutique, maybe they send out a weekly email newsletter about how to style your clothing options, how to new items they have in store. Come in, check it out, order online, that sort of thing. And then direct mail. So that is another form of owned media where you're using, a lot of times it's based on a CRM list. And so they're sending, in this instance, perhaps a targeted postcard to their past clients. So maybe you signed up for summer maintenance on your yard and they send you a postcard to say, hey, are you interested in our snow removal? So another way to kind of leverage your existing customer, get them involved in another product or service you offer. Next, we'll move into platform-based examples of some owned media. So We have websites. So that again is you own your website. You can post your information on your website. So um, this in this example, we have a real estate agency. They built a neighborhood guide on their website. It's a resource that helps attract home buyers that might be searching online and for home information about a neighborhood. And when they do that, they land on this particular agency's website, and they're like, "Wow, this is a great real estate agency. I think I'm going to reach out to them to see about buying or selling a home." Um, a website with a blog. Again, this is a small accounting firm. They maintain their website with a blog. And in that blog, they offer tax tips and financial advice for individuals and small businesses in their community. Again, they are driving people to their website. People see that they are becoming they're a knowledgeable resource for information. And so then that builds some trust with people. And maybe now they're going to go see them for financial planning or tax services. A YouTube channel. So in this example, we have a local hardware store that creates how-to videos, and they demonstrate product uses with their videos. They do some DIY projects. Maybe they walk you through how to, um, you know, unclog a drain, or different things like that that you might encounter. And in that, same thing. They're building content for what they represent, which is they're a local hardware store selling supplies, and they're building trust, and they're becoming with their community and customer base. Lastly, we have online forums or communities. So again, a small business selling some specialized hobby equipment, maybe they host an online forum where they discuss these hobbies, and share tips and connect with other people who are into this hobby. And again, then they become a trusted source for this hobby and for the hobbyists. And then they have some direct sales from that. All right. So the last one that we're going to talk about as far as some owned media is kind of a fun one. These are sometimes very often overlooked. And when I'm working with clients, a lot of times I'm looking at these sort of things because they're really easy ways to get your messaging out there. So one of them is business cards. So perhaps a web developer has a business card. On the back, they have a QR code. You scan the QR code, it leads into their online portfolio. Again, so when they're making a connection in the community, that individual can then go and take it one step further and see what they actually do. And perhaps that builds a new lead or a new contact or customer. Email signatures. These are also, fun, because in this sense, you can use your email signature to maybe talk about something that's front of mind or important to your business at that time. Maybe you've launched a new service. Ask me about our new online, whatever it might be. In this example, we have a marketing manager who updated their email signature to talk about new analytics dashboards that they're offering. So, again, reaching out saying, "Hey, we have this new service, ask me about it," leading to perhaps existing customers growing their business, or perhaps new customers, new leads that they have. And then another thing too is always important to think about is your business space and what's happening in your business space. And one of those things you can do is with signage. So whether it be digital screen or more traditional poster boards or whatever it might be, but you can showcase and promote a product, a service, whatever's happening within that space. So, again, in this example, we have a financial firm, and within their digital screens, they're promoting client testimonials and information about their team that is allowing people, again, to build trust in their expertise on the subject. I have a few more of often overlooked examples. This is another fun one, is your employees. So what are your employees wearing? Are they wearing, t-shirts that have logos and information on how to contact your business, especially if you have employees that are out in the community or working within the space. If you think about this sometimes, like, especially if we go back to my Target or Starbucks example, in those spaces, you'll see when they're launching for Christmas time, they might have, or for the holiday season, they might have a t-shirt on that says, where they're promoting the holidays, they're promoting their sales. Starbucks, they'll have a button or something that says, ask me about our new menus when new menus launch. So this is another way to think about promoting your business, is through what your employees are wearing and what they're wearing, especially if they're out in the community. Uh, Another fun idea is banner ads on your own website. A lot of times we think about buying banner ads, but do we think about putting a banner ad on your website? So you have a big event coming up, you have maybe a fundraising gala, you have something of that nature. You build a banner ad right on your own website that will promote that. So every time somebody's going to your homepage, they're seeing something about that. So I think, again, drawing attention to it and building out that. Um, Another thing is the on property signage. So in this example, we have a perhaps a cafe, and they're on a main street, and they have an A-frame on the sidewalk promoting a special for today. They have a window cling that maybe is showcasing their new drinks. They have a menu board inside that highlights some of their key items. They have a QR code at their register to build their email list. So again, thinking about all the places within your business that you can promote something, whether it be, getting somebody to join an email distribution list, showcasing new items. Um, all of that can be done within your space as well. And again, if you think of a Starbucks, they are all in there. You have the QR code to sign up for their app. You have the menu boards that are digital, and they're changing, and they're showing you what you can order from. And if once they launch their summer drinks, again, they'll have a big front and center summer drinks launched. So something to think about. So are we good, Allie? Do we have any questions? Everyone's with me still? All right,
Yeah,
awesome. Uh, So one of the things we didn't talk about, and I think a lot of people might be saying, what about social media? What about my Instagram? What about my, Facebook? And, I do a lot of promotion on there. What about that? I have, 8,000 followers, whatever you might have. One of the things to keep in mind is that social media is not owned by you. It is a rented media. So, and that means you get to use it. But you don't own the platform. You're just a user on the platform. If the platform shuts down, you lose everything you built. And I think, what we experienced a few months ago, or I don't know, I feel like it's been going on for like almost a year now, right, Allie, where TikTok has been threatened. It's going to be shut down. It's going to be shut down. And so if something like that were to occur, you would lose all of the beautiful photos you've put out, videos you've posted on there, and any of the followers you've gained, all of that would be lost to you. Um, Again, rules can change without your consent. The platform dictates their terms of service. So if they decide they don't like what you're posting, then they can block it. They can remove it. They can decide, they don't want you using it.
mhm.
Um, One of the things we saw something very recently with a client of ours where we posted something for the client, and they said that we were offering a financial service with it, and that wasn't the case at all. And we had to actually go to, was it Instagram, or I can't, was it Meta? I don't remember what it was, but we had to go to them and put in Allie, what's the word, a
It's request.
review.
Yep. Reviewing.
Yeah, review to say, no, that's not what this is. So again, that can happen. The other thing is, you don't control who gets your content. You can put it out there, you can have your 17,000 followers, but that doesn't mean your 17,000 followers are going to see this message that you're putting out there. Because maybe your last post that you did was sort of a dud and it didn't do well. So now they're going to show it to less people because it didn't do well last time. So now you've posted something new. And this again is where something like an email blast, you have your list, you own that list, and your 46,000 people that are on your email list are going to get your messaging. Another thing is, you don't own your follower data. So yes, you have 16,000 followers on your Instagram page, but how do you get that? How do you learn more about that person? How do you find out their likes? How do you know, their address or their phone number if you wanted to send them a personalized offer? You can't. So that is, you know, one of the problems with social media. Now, social media is not completely lost to us. We can still use it in other ways to help drive people to our own media that we own and where we can control our messaging. So, one of the things is, you know, perhaps, you know, you promote your blog. Again, we talked about the blogs on a website being a form of owned media that you can utilize within your business space. So perhaps in this instance, you share a fact on social media. You then put a link to your website's blog and say, you know, to learn more, click here so that you can learn all. Maybe you share just one fact and now you're sending them to your blog so they can learn all the facts. And then all of a sudden now you have a follower to your another new follower to your blog, not just a follower on your meta page or meta pages. You can offer a free download. You use Instagram, you offer a valuable PDF guide like home value checklist, something like that from a realtor. Like, how can you improve the value of your home? But to get that, you have to go and you have to enter you have to go to their website, you have to enter your email address, and now all of a sudden you're adding to your CRM list in this manner. You can run a giveaway. Again, you can maybe do a gift card to your business, but in order to enter, your followers have to go to your website, again, sign up, give an email list, give a hard address, something along those lines, a phone number maybe, so you can text them, whatever it might be, and now you're adding to your CRM and you're driving that. Another way is you, again, maybe you're hosting something for an event, right? A lot of us might use Meta to do our events, especially Facebook, to do events where you're creating an event and you're getting people to, you know, follow or sign up for your event that you're going to host. But perhaps on that, you direct your registrants to a sign up page on your website, not just on Facebook. So that way, again, you're gaining information about this person who's interested in your business, and you can then use that in other ways. Um, any questions on the social media piece? Do we have anything, Allie?
We
No.
don't have any questions, not yet, but I encourage
Okay.
people to ask questions if you have any. I'll try to answer them while Melissa's speaking if she's in the middle of a conversation. So, yeah.
All right, great. All right, we'll move on. So let's talk about why own media matters to you. Why does it matter to you? And why is it important to your business? So we've kind of talked about a little bit about this anyways. Again, you have control. You own your platform. You own your message. You can create your content. You can, what it looks like, what it feels like. You can shape and communicate your brand through those messages. So it allows you to really control what you're saying and how you're saying it. Um, you also can build a connection with your audience, to your consumers, to your clients, to, you know, people who are frequenting your business, and it helps foster a genuine relationship with those individuals because you're speaking directly to them. You're delivering them the messages that they want to hear through the data that you have from them. And then lastly, you gain customer insights for smarter marketing. Again, it allows you to get one spot closer to your consumer and know what they like. What do they want to hear about? I have some more owned media as well, why it's important. But Allie, do we have a question? It sounds like we might have had a question pop in.
Christine's asking if this presentation is going to be recorded, and it will be, Christine, yes. I think you will be receiving a PDF of the presentation and also a recording to your email afterwards.
Correct.
And also everyone's just saying how great you're doing, Melissa. Good job.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Thank you for the positive. It's hard to, I'm definitely more of an in-person person, so it's hard for me if I can't see people's visuals like how I'm doing. So thank you. I appreciate that. So continuing on with why media matters to you, it helps boost your SEO. So this can help drive the organic traffic to your site, to your website. So it makes it easier for new customers to find you. That's basically what that means. So new customers, by keeping this content, updating the content, owning that content, it allows new customers to find you, which allows you to grow your business. Um, it reduces reliance on your third party platforms and ad costs. This is something we see. We do a lot of ads. We do a lot of paid ads on a lot of different platforms for our clients, and sometimes we do see costs go up. We definitely there's seasonality to it, and so this doesn't cost you anything. It costs you some work and some sweat equity, but it allows you to not have to deal with some of that, especially when you have, as a small business owner, you have a small budget. So and yeah, your own platforms, they become a destination for any paid ads or social media you might do, and it helps nurture that conversion over.
We do have some questions coming in, Melissa.
Okay.
So Neva, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is asking how to own this media and what kind of knowledge is needed. I think, Neva, it's more about like the platforms that we've discussed, YouTube, websites, um, things of that nature, and then also taking a look at your own data of your audience, the target audience that you're trying to attract, and where those audiences are converting. So if you're having a lot of people reaching out to you through your email lists, then that's really what you want to focus on. You can do that. And just taking a look at those pieces and crafting a strategy behind that.
And I think we are gonna, as we move through, I think we might answer some of this for you too, because I'm gonna talk about how to look at what you have for own media. What do you own within your business? So I think we might help answer that a little bit more too. So moving off of why own, well, actually, I have one more. So we talked about why earned media matters. Here's another reason why it matters. I don't know how many of you have heard of the 80/20 rule, but this is like a concept that 80% of your desired outcomes are driven by only 20% of your customers. So that means you're getting 80% of your business, 80% of whatever the desired outcome you're looking for is coming from 20% of your customers. So you really want to make sure you know those 20%, you're talking to those 20%. So and desired outcomes, when we're talking about, that's revenue and profit, that's repeat business, and that's referrals and positive reviews. So you know one of your major goals, especially as a small business owner, is to identify, nurture, and really make sure you know your 20%, because they're very important to your business. And also, if 20% is driving 80%, that means you don't have to. Obviously, we always want new customers. We want new revenue sources, but this allows you to be able to do that, but then also know that you're covered with your 80/20. And your own media is how you're going to nurture your 20. And that's through a lot of what we've already discussed: direct messaging, making sure your content and website is all there for them and speaking to those 20%. So now we're going to kind of get into how you can identify your owned media and opportunities. So first thing is, let's talk about looking at an internal audit. So an internal audit that you're doing within your own business. So, if you have a team, perhaps you pull your team together, your employees, and do a brainstorm. What do we own? What don't we own? What could we add? Um, you review your current materials. What are you using now? Do you have brochures? Do you have signage in your store? Do you have, are you using email marketing? Um, And then you also want to do an online scan. Where is your brand appearing? Where do you appear? Do you have a website? How are you using your website? Is there a way where you maybe could start a YouTube channel? Are you in a business that would be appropriate for? Um, and again, as you're doing your internal audit, you always want to be thinking about, do I have control over this? Is this clearly really owned by me? And, some areas to check, look at your website, really look at your website, look at your digital presence. What do you have on your website? What are you talking about on your website? Is your website up to date? Many times we're working with clients and some of this is like very, very simple stuff that can be done and we're not checking our websites. We're not making sure our websites are optimized, making sure our websites are communicating the message that we want, that they're up to date, that, things that have expired or are in the past, we're taking those off and we're making sure any new messages that we want out there, we're getting them up there. Again, email marketing. What does your subscriber list look like? Are you sending out a newsletter? Do you have any automated campaigns? Do you have maybe a birthday promotion, where uh, you have customers' birthdays and maybe you can send them out a $5 coupon or something of that nature? Do you have that going? And then you always want to look at your CRM list. This is really, really important, is maintaining those customer lists and making sure you have emails, phone numbers. I just said birth dates. How great is it to get a little coupon for your birthday? I know my birthday's tomorrow, so happy birthday to me. But I love when I get businesses that I frequent, they, send me something. Hey, come get your birthday gift. We have something for you, or, get $10 off, or tomorrow Starbucks is going to give me a free, coffee. So I'll be there, So I think that is a great, another great thing to think about. Continuing on this, with looking at multimedia content. So do you have a podcast? Thank you. Do you have a podcast? Do you have a YouTube channel? Does your website have the ability to embed videos? Oh, happy birthday. Do you have a webinar? Do you want to host a webinar? Perhaps that could go onto your website where you talk about a product, or you talk about maybe something that's happening, a new product that's coming on board. Um, Mobile apps. Obviously, this is a little bit more technologically savvy, but if you have mobile apps that can be utilized by your business. And then, another thing I think a lot of times we forget about is looking at your storefront, looking at your office space, looking at your signage. Is it outdated? Is it talking about some of the newest promotions? Are we utilizing this space to talk about those pieces? What do your printed materials look like? Do they need to be updated? Do you have, again, looking at those spaces to promote new products, new services, events, things of that nature, promotions. Another thing, branded vehicles, small business owners, do you have a vehicle? Is it branded? Does it have your logo on it? Again, you're driving all over the place. It's a great billboard, a mobile billboard for your business. And when you do those things, I just want to, if you were to, if you were to brand your vehicle, make sure that you're putting everything on there. How to get a hold of you, your website, your phone number. Again, really important piece with any of this owned media is please, please, please remember to put all the vitals on there, because sometimes even I will forget, what we need for important information. All right, so now we're going to move into do we have some questions? Sorry.
Yes, so Jennifer has said lots of great information and things to talk about. Any tips on how to start this path without having to feel like I'm trying to boil the ocean? And I feel that, Jennifer.
Agreed. So here's where we're going to kind of talk about it right here. So great segue. So maximizing your own media. So definitely don't have to sit down and do this, all at once. You can do it in small pieces. So baby steps, small business owners, you wear lots of hats. I know that. So really important to just kind of break it into steps. Maybe start with a website audit. Maybe start with, looking at, your email list. Start with your CRM. Again, starting with your CRM and your customer list, that's a great place to start, or your website's a great place to start. So either place, kind of starting there, and the other stuff can kind of funnel into that, because obviously you don't want to start a strategic newsletter campaign but not have a clean list database of customers. So I think so. We'll talk about this a little bit more too. We're going to maximize your own media. So first, strategize and plan. So this is, leading into this, and this is where we can baby step it. So define clear goals. So once you've determined what you have for owned media within your space, what do you want to do with those? Do you want to have a newsletter? Do you want to send out birthday promos? Do you want to use your website for blogs? So kind of, segue that out and make a list, plan a path, and, next step it. Um, Again, you want to make sure that within that space, your audience and who you're speaking to, or who you're trying to speak to. Again, thinking about our 80-20, so making sure that we're utilizing and talking about what they want to talk about, so that you keep them interested in your topics. And I think this is another really important piece, is developing a content or editorial calendar. So this allows you to keep that steady presence. So when we're talking about, you want to take the year, especially if you have a secular business, this becomes really easy. If you're a boutique, look at, okay, so come, March, April, I want to start talking about summer vacay wear, or resort wear, right? If come, October, I want to start talking about holiday gift buying. If I'm a landscaper, perhaps, in January, February, I'm talking about, hey, get your yard ready for summer. And then come, as crazy as this is, come August, September, I want to start talking to those same people and saying, hey, do you want your driveway plowed? That sort of messaging. So you look at a year, you plan it out. If you have an event, if you're an event-based company, what are your events for the year, and plot those out, and then streamline your messaging to promote those. But I really think I can't say enough about an editorial calendar being a great way to plot this out. And then also from there, you'll say, okay, I want to put this on the website. I want to send an email blast out about this. I want to send a text message as a reminder, a week before the event or something like that. So you're plotting out how you're using those and what your messaging is going to be. So you want to optimize that content too. So once you kind of define where you want the content to go, now you have to make sure you're putting out that content that your 20 is going to want to see. So, you want to solve a problem, you want to educate, you want to entertain, you want to make sure that you are using some SEO to optimize that, improve the discoverability of that content you're putting out, so that new people are finding your websites, your blogs, your YouTube channel. You want to make sure that you have strong calls to action. So this is another important piece. Ellie preaches this daily to all of us. But you want to make sure you tell your audience what to do next. What do you want them to do? So this is great. You're offering snow removal services. What do you want us to do? What do you want me to do as the consumer? You want me to contact you and ask you how I can, sign up, or, you want me to learn more, or whatever it is. You want to make sure that you are driving people to the space and they can get there easily, quickly, because otherwise you could lose them. So that's a really important piece, just as much as any material you're putting out there, that you're making sure that website's on there, you're making sure the phone number to reach you or whatever it might be is all there. And then you can adapt. We do this a lot within our agency when we're working with clients. We'll come up with a messaging for a certain campaign, and then we just sort of optimize that out for all the spaces that we want it to use it in. We're tweaking it just a little bit. Maybe if it's a creative asset, we're tweaking it a little bit, or if it's a messaging, some sort of messaging, we're tweaking that so that it fits the platform. But again, you don't have to reinvent. So if you are looking to promote your snow removal, you don't have to recreate that message when you say you want to text about it, you want to send an email about it. You can use similar messaging for all of that. And then I think most important is that you want to make sure that you're using compelling design, images, videos, whatever it is, so that you are keeping your audience engaged in what you're promoting. Um, Again, maximizing this again, this is promote and distributing it. So making sure oh boy, I had a typo in there. Sorry, guys. You want to make sure you cross promote it in channels. So, if, always tagging. So making sure if, somebody signed up for your newsletter, making sure that there's a tag in there, join our blog, subscribe to our blog, subscribe to our, if somebody visits your website, hey, subscribe to our email newsletter, learn more about the things we do. So making sure you always, again, in that same line of having that call to action, making sure you're always trying to convert that visitor, however they're seeing your information, to another form of owned media that you have. Um, and you use your own channels as landing destinations for ads and PR. So again, if you're doing any kind of paid and earned media, making sure you take those channels and you are using them to drive to the owned media. You want to include, sharing buttons. Anything that you're doing, make sure you have sharing buttons and encourage people to talk about you, share your information that you're offering. And again, that's another way to drive new people to your own media. And lastly, you want to engage and build your community. So we talked about knowing that 20%. So you want to be responsive. You want to, if somebody comments on something, hey, thank you so much, I'm going to take that. I love the suggestion. I'll look more into it, whatever that might be. People love if you mention them by name. So hey, Allie, that was great. Thank you so much. I'm going to look into, the new software or the new line of clothing or whatever it might be. It's always great to engage with your audience too. So, ask questions, run polls, um, you know, ask for suggestions from your audience. Hey, I'm coming up with a new menu for the cafe. What do people want to see? I'm thinking gingerbread. What, for the holidays, what are some other holiday, flavors people like, that kind of thing. And build a loyal following. So turn your audience into brand advocates. And this again is where you can run things where you're offering a promotion. Hey, share this information and enter to win. Or again, maybe publicly thanking somebody for, hey, thank you so much for being an advocate of our brand. We appreciate it. And then, oops. Sorry, I'm jumping a lot. Oh my gosh. So again, and so you're doing these things. What else do you want to do? You want to make sure you're monitoring your website traffic, your email open rates, your social engagement, and your conversions to your website. So this is Allie lives and breathes this, but this is vital information, and it's going to tell you a lot about what is happening. You want to understand your performance. So when you're looking at those key metrics, you're going to say, wow, that really fell flat when I talked about um, the snow plowing. Nobody's really interested. So did I send my message out too early? Was it not compelling enough? Was my call to action not strong enough? So you want to sort of analyze. And again, on that same content calendar that you're developing, or your editorial calendar that we talked about before, track information on there. Make notes to yourself, like, oh nope, that didn't resonate, nobody really liked that, nope, I didn't get any new leads on that. And you want to continuously improve your strategy. based on the data that you're getting and refine it, refine it, refine it. So every time you're going to look, you're going to go back, do a sort of a download after the fact. So you sent out a campaign, you utilized it in all of these channels. Here's what you got out of it. How can you do it better next time? Again, this is great information for our secular businesses, those ones that kind of, you're going to talk about it again 6 months from now or a year from now. And you maintain consistency. So you just want to make sure you have consistent brand voice and visuals. So we talked about how you replicate your you can replicate your creative across all channels and that messaging. So you want to make sure it has a look and feel that's similar. You want to keep your audience engaged. You can't, send out newsletters regularly for 2 months and then not talk to them for 6 months. You need to kind of maintain that cycle. So whatever you're committing to, try to maintain that. And again, show up consistently when your audience expects you. So if your audience has been getting a monthly newsletter, a weekly newsletter from you, and then all of a sudden they don't hear from you for 6 months, again, you need to keep that messaging consistent. So lastly, we're going to kind of this is sort of, are we good, Ali? Do we have any questions or anything happening?
Yeah, we have one question from Neva just asking, how long does the webinar go to? I think it's typically 2 o'clock. However, if we wrap up before then, there will be time for a Q&A and things like that. So.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I just have,
this is Anne from SCORE. We go to about 1:30, but Melissa's finishing up now. The last 20 minutes or so are Q&A. So
correct. Yep.
so I think, Melissa, you've only got one more slide, correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And then we'll move into some questions. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. So breaking it all down. So lots of information that was presented here, a lot of stuff thrown at you, a lot to think about. And I know, I work with small businesses, so I know there's a lot out there. But I think, some key takeaways that we have here is, knowing what your own media is. So, again, it's something your business controls completely. It's your website, it's your blog, it's your email, it's your newsletters, you're using that to sort of build your brand and engage with your audiences directly. Core importance, we've talked about how important owned media is to your business. And it's because, again, it offers that total brand control. You can have direct relationships with your customers, your clients. You learn about them through your metrics, also through experiences and maybe comments you receive from them. And it has long-term cost benefits for you because it doesn't cost a lot to maintain your own media for a small business. And it can offer you some really important data. We talked about, giving you better SEO, better metrics on your customers. And, the next piece we talked about kind of identifying what your earned media is. So conducting that internal audit, defining what you have, what you should have, what you could use, and breaking it all down into small little pieces. And then the last piece is kind of developing that strategy of how you're going to use that and where you're going to use it and what the messages are going to be within that. And again, that's where that calendar is really helpful to your business and plotting it out and knowing what you're going to put where and when. And then lastly, we've talked about it a couple of times, but just remember that 80-20 rule. And owned media and your 80-20 are the perfect match because it's really how you get to connect with that 20. So, the 80, it identifies your most valuable customers. It provides you channels to connect with them, to nurture those relationships. And the goal is to use the channels you control to build relationships with the customers who matter the most to you. So that is sort of wraps it up. We're all done. So do we have some questions? Happy to take questions.
Yes, so Neva has a question about how can I be in touch with you to work on my business if you are willing, or just answer any questions. And then Jennifer asked similarly, are you SCORE mentors? No, in a short answer, Jennifer, no, we're not SCORE mentors. But we are, we work at Miranda Creative and we do some of these webinars.
So I do have my email address on here, and so it'll be available to you when we send the PDF off. And information about the company we work for, Miranda Creative. We also have their website here as well. So feel free to jump in there and check out what we do. And then as far as finding a mentor, we have a link on this in slide as well to find your mentor.
Yeah. And I'm going to, this is Anne, I'm the co-chair of the SCORE Eastern Connecticut chapter. I'm the host. So I've been quiet and listening to Melissa and Allie give this terrific presentation. I'm going to drop a link into chat where you can sign up for a free SCORE mentor. We do have SCORE mentors who can aid you with digital questions. We're very, very lucky that Miranda Creative donates their time to educate us on these webinars. We're very, very thankful that Melissa and Ali have given us the time. So we hope that you do contact them, but please also sign up for a free SCORE mentor, where we spend an hour talking about your business. So I'm going to drop that into chat.
Great.
Thank you.
So if there aren't any other questions, we can wrap this up. I know that we've got a number of people. I mean, it's still a very large group hanging on. So if you've got a question, drop it in. This is your chance. As I said, Melissa and Allie, are professionals with Miranda Creative. They've donated their time. So use this time to ask a question. If not, we will wrap this up and say thank you. And in the meantime, I'm going to get that link for you for SCORE.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. I hope it's helpful to you. And as I said in the presentation, as a small business owner, as many of you are, it's a lot because you're running your business, but this is a great way for you to take some time and use your own media to continue to grow your business and foster your business. And look for people within your own business that maybe can help you do that. There could be maybe somebody's willing to. I have a friend who owns a salon, and one of her hairdressers is she will run the social media, and she puts out some really great content, because my friend who owns the salon, she doesn't have a lot of time to do that. So she does that, and then they also she has somebody else who helps her with her newsletters. So it takes a whole community to help you.
Oh, we have a good question from Susan. What is the typical amount of time a small business spends on audience, website, call to actions, development, etc.? How do you decide the amount of time and money to spend on it? You won't know the ROI until after you put the time and energy into it.
This is true. This is true. So I think, the nice thing about owned media is a lot of it is tools you might already have. So you might be able to, if you already have a website and you are able to update your website and able to put information on your website, that's something that's free to you. It just takes your time. So I'm a huge proponent of blocking time. And I think, as a business owner, I think it's important to maybe block that time. So if Mondays are sort of a slower day, perhaps you step off and out of your business front and you spend 2 hours checking things.
And maybe that's 2 hours a week where you just focus on marketing your business, cleaning everything up. And so, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? So maybe those 2 hours a week, you can clean up your email lists one week, and then your CRM the next week, and then your website. So as time
And
goes on,
then,
it does get easier, and you also learn a lot. I mean, getting into, I know, Neva, you said that you weren't kind of digital savvy with MailChimp and things like that. And I don't think anyone is, but once we get in there, we kind of like learn as we go. We fumble through it. Maybe we make mistakes, but we learn from those mistakes. So don't be scared to log into MailChimp or Constant Contact, any of these other platforms. Some of them offer free plans to get you started, so there's no cost to you. And some, like with SMS, I know that there may be a small fee for monthly sends, but if you stay within like a certain amount of sends per month, you can kind of keep in that small fee, so there's not a lot of extra costs. But yeah, so a lot of things, but we really encourage you guys to build your business and grow your own media that way. So
and again, once you've kind of done, what Ali's talking about, 2 hours on the website, 2 hours on your CRM, 2 hours on, your email database, whatever it might be, then it's 2 hours on your content calendar and figuring out what you want to message when. Because I think a lot of times it's like, I'll just, throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. But, a lot of times, Miranda Creative, we talk a lot about strategy and having that strategy. And so this is owned media as a strategy.
okay, I don't think that there are any more questions. If we want to wrap up, Melissa, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us today. And again, my email's here, our information's here, and I hope everyone found what we presented today to be helpful information. And yeah, I hope you can do something with it. So